just ask you, is the FIFA Club World Cup bigger than the Champions League?
Wow, such a
big question.
That's such a
big question. And when we are done with this round of topics, I think I'll just activate the phone lines. But is the FIFA Club World Cup, and everybody's going to have a bite on this, is it bigger than the UEFA Champions League?
Well, it depends on how you want to look at it. In terms of exciting games, matchups we'll never see, this is where you get it in the Club World Cup. But in terms of actual quality, you look at Real Madrid facing off against a PSG. That's an exciting tie. You come to the Club World Cup, you could get that, but you could also have Palmeiras against
Auckland City.
So in terms of quality of matches, you wouldn't get that consistency you get in the Champions League. Even with the expanded Champions League now, the minnows of European football aren't minnows. They actually do put up brilliant fights, and that alone adds to the argument that the Champions League is better. We look at the traditions in terms of, we've seen comebacks, 3 goals down, Liverpool come and win, Chelsea against Bayern Munich. Those stories are just it for me. They carry a bit more significance for me. And in terms of commercial revenue, the Champions League provides a lot more. As much as this was a good attempt by FIFA, it still couldn't meet what the Champions League generates in a season. And
but the Champions League takes place over a space of 8 months.
Yeah.
This is just a month.
Also less money.
It's just a month, no problem. But I just feel, in terms of the commercial revenue for a club, if I'm going to be somewhere over 8 months, I have my season going on, and it's going to provide me with extra, let's say, 300 million or 200 million. I would take it. It would make sense for me, because the commercial revenue I make on match days alone could take care of certain bills, and then we move to the actual broadcasting rights, and that alone makes a lot more commercial sense for any football administrator. Club World Cup, exciting, but it doesn't get me the way the Champions League would. On a Tuesday or on a Wednesday, I'll be rushing to go home. When it was the Club World Cup, I wasn't too moved, because you wouldn't have every club that you're fancying in there. It's specific. 14 European clubs, 4 from Africa. It doesn't capture what I would want to see, because in the Champions League, I'm getting top 4, top 3 from specific countries, and that covers a lot of quality, and that makes a bit more sense for me.
All right. So let me come to Winston. We are just comparing these two competitions, the Club World Cup and the UEFA Champions League. Which do you think is bigger?
Honestly, I disagree with what he's saying. One part, I think he set it up brilliantly, but one part, and I think that's why you're asking the question, right? Is the World Cup better than any competition in the world? Not even the Club World Cup, the World Cup. Is it? Because it seems that the Club World Cup has similar criteria and similar rules.
No, so the World Cup proper is for national teams.
Right.
That's a different vibe completely.
Right.
But here we are comparing 2 club competitions, the Club World Cup and the UEFA Champions League.
Yeah. Is the Club World Cup bigger than the UEFA Champions League? That's the question.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
It's tricky.
I don't think so. Regardless of what FIFA are trying to push, I don't think so. I think the Champions League is way bigger, and for reasons that have been stated already. It's longer. It's over a longer stretch of time. You get to face elite competition, even though there are some really, really low-level teams in there. But then once you reach around the 16, they are eliminated, right? Mostly, unless they are really having a stellar Champions League campaign. Most of them are sifted out and eliminated. So from the round of 16 all the way to what do you call it? The final. It's high quality, top level teams from Europe's best leagues. So I think nothing beats the Champions League. I know the PR that they are trying to do with this Club World Cup because it's been somewhat successful. Monetarily, it's been very, very rewarding to a lot of these. It's probably the most valuable. What do you call it? Club tournament, club competition, and monetarily, let me say that, money-wise, right? But ask any player in this world, what is your dream? And they will tell you, my dream is to play the Champions League. My dream is to hear the Champions League anthem. My dream is, Kudus went to a team because of Champions League football. Kudus should have been at Manchester United. But because of Champions League football, he went to Tottenham Hotspur. A place where a lot of Ghanaians wouldn't never even imagine that he would go there. But he went there because of one reason. Champions League football, not because of Club World Cup.
He could have gotten Champions League football at Chelsea.
He could have. But at the end of the day, it's still because of the Champions League, right? That he prioritized a move where he went. So at the end of the day, bro, we've been watching the Champions League forever. The Club World Cup, according to them, they said this is the first edition, right? Because they are saying they'll rename their other one.
Intercontinental.
Yeah,
Intercontinental.
Yeah. But since we were kids, it's been the Champions League. That's what we know. That nothing beats the Champions League on a Wednesday and on a Tuesday night. In fact, this is why DSTV still has subscribers. It's the Champions League. It's the Champions. Like, bro, I don't care what anybody says. I know Chelsea fans are all high and on something right now, but the Club World Cup is never bigger than the Champions League. I'm sorry.
Murphy, same preamble.
How many minutes do I have?
For a bonus. This is the problem of the day.
I seem to share similar sentiments as Winston. I think the only box that the Club World Cup takes differently from the Champions League, it's on monetary basis. The winner of the Club World Cup takes home 35.5 million USD. 35.4 million euros, as against 25 million euros for the winner of the Champions League. So purely on monetary basis, that is the only box that the Club World Cup takes better than. But you're not going to find the likes of Auckland City in the Champions League. For us as fans who would want to be treated to the best of games, we never get jaded by watching the best of games. We always want to see the best players on display. You look at the criteria for the Club World Cup, and it had to go 4 years back. It did not give us the assembly of the best clubs in terms of quality at this point in time. It's the reason you kept mentioning the likes of Liverpool, you kept mentioning the likes of Barcelona. They had to go 4 years back. That's how come by points accumulation you have a certain Salzburg. But at the point in time when the competition might be kicking in, they might not be in the best of shapes. They might not be in the best of forms. The fact that, it was more or less like, we had to get a representation from anywhere. So sometimes when people, let me digress a bit, when people sound the analogy like we should have a quota system for the Black Stars, that is how the argument sounds like. Whether the players are good enough or not, there should be a quota of local players in the Black Stars. That's how the Club World Cup sounds like. Whether the teams in that continent are good enough or not, we have to have a representation from CONMEBOL, from CONCACAF, from Asia, from CAF and all of that. It doesn't give us the best assembly of class other point in time. So on a purely quality point of view, you cannot compare the Club World Cup to the Champions League. Maybe going forward, it may be subject to reviews and the format might change and the criterion for bringing clubs into the competition might change. But in its current stand, there is no way the Club World Cup comes anywhere close to the Champions League in terms of excitement, in terms of the quality of players and the quality of the teams and all of that. The Champions League is way, way clear.
So the prerequisite for that, we are still on that. The prerequisite for that is that they go back 4 years. And there's a particular point or coefficients ranking for the last 4. So does this mean that in the next edition of the Club World Cup, if probably Chelsea don't make Champions League for 4 years in a row, they won't be available to defend their title?
Yes.
Whilst you say that, with what we've seen with most of these tournaments, they tend to make an exception that the winner
for the defending champion. But that was 4 years ago.
You have to still defend your title. So that might be their saving grace if they do not perform. But looking at the youth Chelsea have invested in and the way they're going, I think they will be in there, whether we like it or not. They are starting a new project, is a new phase. Give them at least 2 years, they will be a constant in the finals in like 3 or 4 years. So them making that the next edition shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, but you were going to make a point.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back on revenue because just looking at the numbers here, Real Madrid, the revenue they made here was how much? About $82.5 million from the FIFA Club World Cup, but that just constitutes 4% of their commercial revenue.
Wow.
So it should tell you that the money looks great, but for these big clubs, it's
peanuts
in their total income or revenue. You look at the total winners, Chelsea, they got 114 million, and that's just 16%
of their
of the total
revenue for. Yeah.
What I see the Club World Cup as is for the lower clubs like Auckland City, they made 690%
Mamelodi Sundowns
of their revenue. It's something they'll never get. And what this does is good for those clubs, but not good for their domestic leagues. Because now you've created a Man City, or you've created a Saudi team in some of these leagues. Because in New Zealand, their league was now developing. Now Auckland City, that was full of semi-pros. Now probably going to invest in decent talent, and they're going to stay relevant for the next 4 years.
And they'll be back.
But
Shouldn't that be motivation for the other clubs to want to qualify as well?
Yeah, but
how are you going to qualify?
yeah, but they have a head start, like you're saying. Like Charlie, it's a huge gap for them.
That's
Yeah, but for
what
them, for what I read, right, because they are semi-pro, apparently they want to maintain that status. So they are not going to pay their players, above a certain. In fact, I don't think they even pay their players.
Yeah, but now they'll get full pros.
So
But I think they said they want to maintain that status. So in the moment you start paying them like pros, you lose the status of semi-pro. So they will definitely maintain that.
So $4.6 million. That's what is going to change everything for New Zealand football right now. And I think maybe FIFA, to make this a bit more interesting, they need to look at the federations or the countries these clubs are coming from, their local or domestic FAs, and try to find a way so that some of the money goes to them. If it does go that way, then the clubs are incentivized to perform. If let's just say Kotoko happened to make it there.
Charlie, why not Hatofo?
No, Kotoko is going to Africa. They get chance.
They managed to make it there. They make, let's say, $10 million. Because of this system, the FA gets maybe $5 million. The domestic league could benefit. Those are some of the things that should be put in place for the federations that are of a lower standing, just so that it's developing the sport in those areas. If they do that, certainly it will make a bit more sense going forward. The other thing as well is in terms of teams that do not really they are not too liquid. For Dortmund, for Chelsea, for Inter Milan, for Man City, the funding they are getting from this tournament alone gives them about 60 to 35% of the money that they've spent in this summer. So if you are a forward thinker, you have a great CFO as a club, you might want to take an approach that we're going to perform, get into the Club World Cup, and in that summer, all the players that we've shortlisted, we try our best to get it, because then we know that we'll perform and we'll get those players in there, and that way it's at a lower cost. Because you look at Man United weren't there, but let's just say Inter Milan were there, but let's just say Man United were there. They don't have fun. They are struggling to pull resources together because of one or two reasons. You perform here, automatically you've gotten an additional 100 million or 80 million. You can now buy Mbeumo without spending 50 days begging. You understand? Like, these are some of the benefits. It's short-lived, but then the income certainly comes at an easier way than if you were to go the long way of selling players to balance your books before you buy players. So it has its benefits, but in terms of income, it's not too much for some of the bigger clubs. It's peanuts, and we have to be circumspect with that.
Winston, anything to add to that?
No, I think he broke it down brilliantly.
Yeah.
But I think the only thing that I was going to add to that is that this is why it's not bigger than the Champions League, because you don't really know the criteria and like it's not very clear. Chelsea have just won the Club World Cup. They don't automatically qualify for the next Club World Cup according to FIFA rules.
No.
They have to win the Champions League or have like one of the highest coefficients to be able to be back. So it's not necessarily that because you won, you get a chance to defend. The only people who have qualified, in fact, the people that have actually qualified for the next Club World Cup is PSG, because they just won the Champions League within the next 4 years, right?
Yeah.
That they're considering. So that alone just tells you that, I mean, it can't be bigger than the Champions League, can it?
Yeah, I think solid points made. Murphy, anything to add to that?
Oh, I think I've already
made
my points quite clear.
Okay.
There isn't anything to add at this point.
Okay, so we are still on the FIFA Club World Cup. We have a lot of subtopics here that we are actually eating through. There were some people who criticized Infantino's idea about the Club World Cup. Did it live up to expectation as a whole? I mean, do those people owe Infantino an apology? Let me start from Mr. Frimpong. I mean, overall, not in comparison, but the FIFA Club World Cup alone, the organization, I mean, there were a few issues here and there with weather conditions, etc. But on the whole, was it a brilliant tournament?
It looked like a commercial tournament. You just wanted to get a country or a host that has the infrastructure, but without and the commercial angle to, they have a population where you can really do a lot of marketing to. However, that isn't enough for me. I just feel to start off such an interesting tournament in the USA, when the World Cup is about to go there, defeats the purpose. It would have made it a bit more exciting going to the actual World Cup when it's time. Now we've seen what the weather is like. Someone gets a fixture in a particular country, they're not particular state, they won't be too excited because they've seen what happens there already. So rather, maybe a joint bid for European countries would have been, European host would have been a bit more interesting for me. This was, it didn't catch my eye. I wasn't too fast. And the time difference until later on in the tournament, where they had time to actually put it at the right times.
I mean, but on the contrary, it was a dress rehearsal for the World Cup, and you would say that it gives you the chance to correct mistakes.
That's why we have Confed Cup.
Yeah.
That's why it existed.
But, well, maybe a number of games, etc., traveling here and there,
that was
ability
better.
to fill the stands.
That wasn't stands that were filled. We saw an early Chelsea game where some Ghanaian guys came on and they told me there was nobody in the stadium. Like, they were just sitting there. You go there because you're affiliated to the club, but not everybody feels the same way about soccer. So,
Saka.
yeah, you have to understand.
For a moment, I thought he was talking about Bukayo Saka. Charlie, what is the accent?
Well, Murphy, what do you think?
Well, I think it depends on which stakeholder is making the analysis. For FIFA, like you rightfully said, it was supposed to be a dress rehearsal of a sort. You remember, if you look at the Qatar 2022 World Cup, for instance, in the build-up to the tournament, we heard of issues of very high temperatures. What did FIFA do? They built air-conditioned stadiums. We realized in some of these games, some of the players on the bench even had to watch games from the dressing room because of very high temperatures. Some of the fans could not go to the stadiums because of some of these So like you rightfully said, I think for FIFA, what it does for them is 1 year on to the World Cup, it gives them the room to see some of these mistakes and put in measures to avert them heading into the main competition. I'm hearing of the changing some of the kickoff times and then working on some of the stadiums, like I think about 5 of these stadiums that hosted these competitions, the MetLife stadium where our brother Moses was, and the other stadiums. Shout out to Mose. Is Mose back?
No, he's not back.
Charlie Mose, the chillo.
He enjoyed for the Florida, the Miami Beach there. Yeah.
So what this does for FIFA as a major stakeholder is that it gives them room to correct some of the mistakes that would have maybe surfaced in the bigger competition. For the clubs, what does it mean? More cash. Charlie, nobody hates more cash. So even the rich, and say even if they rain, they see safe, they collect more water. So for the teams, more cash. They can be bothered, but it's more cash is more cash. They are happy. For the players, that is where my issue is. Pep rightly alluded to the fact that it might inure to the disadvantage of the players 2-3 months on. That is when we will see the effect. So it depends on which stakeholder. For us as fans, Charlie, we Oliver Twist, we want more games. We don't care whether the protagonists on the pitch are bearing the brunt of the accumulated number of minutes on. We don't care. We want to see the big games. Everyone was looking forward to watching the Chelsea versus PSG game. We didn't care how many minutes Cucurella had played. Winston says he's played over 5,000. None of us cared. We just wanted to see the big games, you understand? So I think it depends on which of the stakeholders is doing the analysis. For FIFA, like I rightfully said, it's a platform for them to correct some of the mistakes that might have popped up in the actual World Cup. For the fans, we wanted more, so we can't be bothered. I think the players would be the ones to suffer the brunt of all of this. So it depends on who is doing the analysis.
When I look at the Chelsea players, I don't think they are sad to play in the competition. But Winston, do you think this has been largely, to a large extent, would you call it successful?
I would. Just like the points that have been made, obviously this is, you rightfully said, a dress rehearsal, right? So right now you know that there are weather issues in June, July, when the World Cup will be held next year. So you know that if perhaps a solution could be that you go to roofed stadiums, you know, to protect the fans and to avoid delays like what happened with the Chelsea situation. You have to wait 2 whole hours in order to finish a game. In fact, they played a game in 2 days. You know, so I mean, that on the World Cup scale is very embarrassing. You know, I don't think FIFA would want that kind of PR. You look at it from a political standpoint as well. I think the Trump administration wanted to see as how they can manage the FIFA World Cup that's coming, right? In terms of immigration and how they can handle all that, because you know they're all about what do you call it, legal entries and all these things, right? So I guess this gave him a very good case study to be able to see how security-wise they're able to manage it, how they're able to maneuver their way, right? Commercially, it gave him a chance. It gave, in fact, FIFA even more of an exposure to receive astronomical bids that will be coming in next year for TV rights, sponsorship, all of that in a capitalistic country, right? Everybody saw the potential. Imagine if we came to America, right, for the Club World Cup, and Coca-Cola wasn't convinced the Club World Cup was anything, right? And then they saw what they saw. They'll drop $1 billion on your door and want to be the exclusive, you know, person who handles your World Cup, right? Because what they saw, they don't want to miss out on the next time it comes around, right? So it's an opportunity. So for FIFA, it was largely successful. As for Pep Guardiola, I think nobody should really listen to what Pep Guardiola says or take it with a pinch of salt. He's the biggest fanfula I know. Yeah, he is. Because you know, when they were playing it, they asked him that question. I remember. And then he said, I don't know what Klopp is talking about, but we are loving it. We want to win this. The moment he gets eliminated, he changes his tone. You know, it's like two different guys. It's like, first of all, you said Klopp is not making any sense. All of a sudden, he is. What are you saying? You get what I mean? So at the end of the day, with somebody like Pep, you have to take it a pinch of salt. A lot of people too who were criticizing the competition, people who didn't get the opportunity to play. They're very bitter. If you ask Liverpool fans, if you ask Manchester United fans, Arsenal fans, they'll say, oh, glorified friendly and all that. If FIFA said Arsenal come and play, you will see the difference. So at the end of the day, it was largely successful, and I think that it exposed all the mistakes that FIFA could encounter, and they have a chance to correct it.
All right, so this is still Sporty FM 106.1 megahertz in Accra, 102.5 megahertz in Takoradi, and 91.3 megahertz in Kumasi. Remember, we are streaming on X at SportyFM_. My name Niakwe, the sportscaster. Or you can call me Niakwe MC, aka Nami Nami. People pay to see me. And right about now, I did promise you that this is an interactive show and that phone lines are activated. We are still talking Chelsea versus PSG, the FIFA Club World Cup, the UEFA Champions League in comparison. Is it a bigger competition? What do you think? If you want to congratulate Chelsea, you want to tell us where PSG got it wrong, the number to call is 0542 571061.